2025 Ford Explorer is here, and next to me is literally the highest spec one that you can get. And today I'm not going to be doing a typical review. I'm going to be doing a review of all of the new technology that Ford has packed into this one tiny package. So I'm Aiden, and you're watching God Next. Now, of course, the interior is going to be where most of these changes have taken place, and Ford has definitely packed this car with plenty of upgrades. And I want to start with the infotainment system, of course, because wow, this is not Sync anymore. So, and that is the truth. They're not using Sync anymore. So before, the Explorer was using Sync 3. If you got a higher trim level model, it would be this weird vertical screen. And if you got a lower trim level, it would be the regular, like, tiny little screen that you would have on the dashboard. They've gone away with Sync actually entirely in the Ford Explorer, and they're now using the Ford Digital Experience, which is very similar to the Lincoln Digital Experience that you get in the new Nautilus. So, yep, all new infotainment system, and I gotta be honest with you, I am loving it. So it uses the Android Automotive system, which don't confuse that with Android Auto, the phone integration system. They're using Android Automotive, which is a full-on operating system for the car. So the first person to do this was Chevy, probably around 4 years ago. Chevy started integrating Android Automotive into their cars. It's maintained by the people who maintain Android. It's a lot faster than Sync was. It has a bunch of built-in apps. Ford no longer does a native operating system built by them. They use Google Maps now. So to walk through it, to start with the Android Automotive stuff, you have Google Maps, the Google Play Store, Google Assistant. You even have Amazon Alexa, YouTube, and you also have Prime Video that you can use if you're parked. So you can use YouTube or Prime Video when you're parked. And honestly, I think that's a lot because more and more vehicles, especially electric vehicles, are allowing things like video sharing platforms and streaming services to be integrated into the infotainment systems on the cars now. So I think a lot of auto manufacturers are just going to start doing it anyways, even if it's a gas or electric. It doesn't really matter. That way, you know, if you're parked and not doing anything or you're waiting on someone, you can just pop on YouTube or pop on Prime Video. I still think that Tesla's way of doing it is a little better. They were the ones that really pioneer the whole theater system in cars, but it is nice to see that Ford is starting to do this in their gas-powered vehicles. They've been doing it on the Mach-E for a while, along with the Lightning. But seeing it in Android Automotive with a much more seamless and easy to use user experience, this is much better. Though it is Android Automotive, they have not gotten rid of Apple CarPlay. You still have the regular Android Auto system that you get for the embedded system for the phones, and you also have the Apple CarPlay system as well. If you connect an iPhone, it is wireless, which wasn't on the old Ford Explorer that lasted until just this year, and that was around for 4 years, but much better than the old Sync 3 system. Another thing I want to talk about is going to be the Ford BlueCruise system, and it's really interesting here. So if you don't know, Ford BlueCruise is Ford's self-driving system, name ripped directly off of GM's Super Cruise, but we're not going to talk about that. That's already been in dispute for a really long time. So here's how it works. You get the option on the ST and Platinum. It comes with BlueCruise, but it comes with a 90-day trial of BlueCruise. So when that 90-day trial is, active, you can get in the car, you can activate the self-driving system, and then you're allowed to drive it for that 90 days using BlueCruise. After that 90 days is up, if you did not option the $700 one-year plan for BlueCruise, you're going to have to get the subscription for it, or you're going to have to get the yearly subscription for it. So monthly after the expiration period is going to be $75 a month or $800 a year, which is, I think if you pay over a year, you're saving maybe $150. So a little bit of savings there. You can do monthly or yearly, and then you can continue to use BlueCruise. Now, price comparison to Tesla, that's cheaper than Tesla's full self-driving system, which is $99, or you can just buy it outright for $8,000, which I think is a waste of money anyways. Now, the one that people aren't going to think of in comparison when it comes to self-driving is going to be GM, even though their Super Cruise system is pretty good. They're much cheaper. So GM's subscription cost for Super Cruise is actually bundled with OnStar for $25 a month. Now, that is a significant cost savings compared to what Ford's charging and what Tesla's charging. So the interesting thing is too, with the technology, if you look at what BlueCruise offers and how they've trained the self-driving, the technology, and they've trained it, it's 130,000 miles of training data have been packed into the BlueCruise system. And so that means for 130,000 miles of highway, basically it can drive anywhere by itself using the camera that's mounted on, or the eye camera that's mounted on top of the steering column. So here's the thing with that. Chevy's, and the marketing for it's a little weird. So Chevy says there has been 240 million miles worth of training data that's been provided to the Super Cruise system. Ford markets it a little different, saying, well, there's 130,000 miles of available highway for use with the BlueCruise system. So I think Chevy is basically just saying, we've given this thing 240 million miles of training data to use. I don't think that it means it can drive, of course, 240 million miles. There's not enough road on the planet to drive that long. But other than back and forth, you'd have. Regardless, I think that Super Cruise is going to be a better value, and I've used both of them. I think Super Cruise is a little better and a little less finicky. Whenever I use BlueCruise, about 10 minutes in, it just decides, well, you're not looking at the road. We're going to turn it off, even though I am looking at the road. It works with sunglasses too, so that's not a problem. And so they've mapped it like that. Now the difference is with Teslas, and I think this is why they charge a little more for Teslas, is that in Tesla's full self-driving system, you have Tesla Vision, which doesn't rely on pre-mapped roads that the system can drive on. Tesla uses Tesla Vision, of course, to actively train a deep neural network that helps the car self-drive itself. But Tesla's full self-driving system can drive on any road anywhere as long as the system thinks that it's an actual road. I don't know about dirt roads, but at least in my Tesla, it can drive anywhere, versus BlueCruise can't do that, nor can Super Cruise. So basically, Tesla's system is a little different and is more machine learning based and more active based, versus Super Cruise and BlueCruise are not. Though it is more expensive, I think it is a little better system. Now, back to the infotainment system, they've done some other things here. For the navigation, before and in every other Ford vehicle, you can't view your nav system in the gauge cluster. Now with the Ford Digital Experience and the Lincoln Digital Experience, if you have a Lincoln, you can now view the map actively in the gauge cluster, which is a really big improvement over what it used to be. It used to just show you directions. German brands have been doing this for a long time, where they show the actual map nav in the system, and I think it's about time that the American brands, especially Ford, has jumped on this, because I don't like looking over here to view my map if I have a gauge cluster to look at the map. Unfortunately, this one does not have the heads-up display. I don't actually think it's even equipable with a heads-up display, so that's something you're going to be missing out on, even though other Ford vehicles do now have heads-up displays, albeit they're not very good and they're kind of crappy. But anyways, other things that Ford has changed, the audio, you'll notice that there's a massive sound bar now. The sound bar has been seen in things like the Mach-E. Now it is going to be in the Explorer, and I think overall, for like they've been with Bang & Olufsen for so long, I honestly think that they've kind of not perfected, but they've done a really good job at kind of dialing in the sound system, and it sounds really, really good, much better than the last Explorer, even though that also used B&O. But again, that was 2020 when that came out. I think with this new soundbar thing that they got going on, and then they also have a speaker on top of the dash, I think that I think it's much better. Now, of course, technology-wise, they've removed a lot of the buttons. Climate controls are now embedded, like on the other sync systems. But yeah, I think as far as safety tech, self-driving, things like that, I think it's pretty good. Safety tech, you get Ford Copilot 360 plus 2.0 in the ST, and I think if you do the active, I think it might be included as well. Not sure. But luckily it is included on this, because this car is $61,000 for its all-wheel drive variant. A little cheaper if you get rear-wheel drive, but anyways. Other cool tech stuff, I mean, they have towing technology. You can add trailers into here if you want. You can play games. If you're a big Asphalt fan, that is a car racing game on the phone. can actually play it in here, and you can connect compatible Bluetooth controllers to the car to actually play games, which I think is cool. And it's got 5G connectivity too if you pay for the connectivity on it. That's also another subscription, the premium connectivity stuff. But it'll give you 5G connectivity and Wi-Fi. So at least that's nice if you're in a bad, like a dead area for service. I mean, if your car still has connection and your phone doesn't, you can always like just connect to the car's hotspot, which is cool. But other than that, no. I mean, a lot's been upgraded in here, but I'm not going to go through all of that because it's a tech review and I'm not going to sit here and do it. A full-on review of it, but for the most part, that's the stuff Ford has changed for the technology. Of course, there's drive modes and stuff like that. Yeah, my God, this is so much better than the last one. It used to be so laggy. This is just like a seamless experience now. Like, it used to lag between switching on the drive modes, and now I can just turn it back and forth like this, and it's like perfectly in line with what I'm doing. Yeah, that's awesome. But overall, yeah, guys, Ford has done a really good job with the 2025 model, getting all the tech upgraded and making this thing look and feel great to use. So if you ever get a chance, get in one, drive it, see what it's like. And yeah, so that's all I have to say. If you guys like the video, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you want to see more from us, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you all in the next video.